Man United and Brentford are now in talks for the transfer of Bryan Mbeumo to Man United. This is what we've been waiting for, the two clubs to come together to start slashing out a fee. We know that Bryan Mbeumo wants to come to Man United. We've been told that by Mr. David Ornstein and others. So that's not in the question. Now it's about a fee. And what is a good fee? What is the right fee? I've been thinking about this and I want to know from you guys, because Brentford reportedly want 50+ million. Bryan Mbeumo has 1 year left on his deal with an extension in there as well for a further 12 months. So they could even trigger that. And basically he's got 2 years left. So they're comfortable and they're trying to use Matheus Cunha as the measuring stick because we've just paid £62.5 million for him. Should Man United just slap another £62.5 million down? Is that fair with a player who has a year left with an extension? Should we try to hustle them because the players come out and said, I want to leave, and they got a cash in? What is a fair fee? I want to know what you lot are thinking. For me, firstly, it's good that the clubs have approached. Well, we've approached them. It's good that we're now in talks because, you know, for us, I get the skepticism, I get the pessimism when it comes to Man United transfers. I know we got Cunha locked in, but when the story goes, Bryan Mbeumo says he wants to go to Man United, he's given priority to them. Obviously, we all fell off our chairs and got excited. But until the clubs actually start talking and bids go in and bids get down on the table and the negotiations start, it means that it hasn't really materialized. And to see, like a couple of days later, Sky Sports reporting it and Ben Jacobs and many others, that the two clubs are now talking, that makes me feel a little bit more at ease. Because once it's just from, if it's only from the player side, if we're being real, if we're being honest with ourselves, the player can want to go to wherever he wants. But unless the club starts coming in to put bids in, nothing happens. Do you know what I'm saying? Nothing happens. And the fact that Man United have advanced to go to establish what the fee is going to be, it sort of legitimizes the claims that, listen, they're from really substantial sources, David Ornstein, Bomber, etc., etc. But it just puts the full stop underline under Mbeumo wants to go to United, because United ain't going to Brentford to try and hustle out for a deal if the player don't want to go there. So that's a positive. Now the fee. Now I don't think we should be ignorant to this. Now let's look at who Brentford are and what they stand for and their track record. They're not going to get bullied. They're not going to get bullied. I know, listen, there was a stage that they wanted 100 million for Ivan Toney before he left the club, but then the situation happened where he got banned for 8-9 months, and it changed. It changed their position on him because he did only have a year left then, I believe. Or was he going to go in the summer? No, I think he went in the summer. He would only had a year left, so they had to sell him. And I think he went for 40 million in the end over to Saudi. But Mbeumo, if we look at it, is younger. Also, he does have a year left, and they can trigger an extension. So if you're not familiar with that, it means they can trigger a clause in his contract, which effectively makes him have 2 years left on his contract. So they are in a strong position in terms of value. So to ask for 50 million for a player who has 1 year left, I mean, I don't believe they have triggered it, but it's there. So technically it's 2 years. You have to look at that and say it's probably fair. Now, our bargaining chip, so that's their bargaining chip. He's 25. He's just bagged 20 in the league. He's been getting better and better since he's come to the Premier League, since he's been at Brentford, and you know the type of player that you're getting. And in today's market, you've just paid £62.5 million for Matheus Cunha, who's of a similar ilk to Bryan Mbeumo. So we want around that. Now, the difference is that the biggest difference for me, where Man United probably have a bargaining chip too, is that Bryan Mbeumo has said, I want to go there. I don't want to be at Brentford anymore. I want to go to Man United. So therefore, they definitely have a player who doesn't want to play for him anymore. Now, that's not in a negative way of I'm going to down tools or disrespect the club. Brentford's a fantastic family club, and Bryan Mbeumo looks like he's got his head screwed on, and he's a good egg. He's a good character. So I don't think he'll get messy, but the point still stands that I don't want to be here anymore. So if you're the Brentford chairman and you're the decision makers at Brentford, who, let's be honest, they understand what they're built off. They understand how they sustain themselves, where they sell players for decent money. They're going to know that this is the best time to sell Bryan Mbeumo. You know, you don't keep him. They don't want. They probably want to avoid keeping him another year, and then he goes into a territory of. Then he does only have 1 year left. If they trigger the extension, they could probably do it then, and they'll be in the same position next year. They could say that actually, but you got an unhappy player on your hands. So that works in our favor. He wants to come to us. The second thing why I think we need to be careful not to go too high is because Mateus Cunha signed a new deal in January. That deal was on the table for a little while. It wasn't signed, and then he did sign it. He did sign it. Obviously, he signed it with a release clause that allowed him to be able to move now for this fee. But at the time of signing it, he extended upon his deal. So he's probably got more years left than Bryan Mbeumo. So I think that's a little bit of a different context. But Brentford are right to say, listen, you're talking about quality pound for pound, very similar. You could argue that Mbeumo has been in the league a little bit longer, so you probably got a little bit more work there. But they're very, very similar players, just different sides of the pitch, essentially, right? So listen, I don't think we should be going too high. If we have to pay 62.5 million again, should we do it for Mbeumo? Is he good enough for that? I would say yes, because the thought of having both of them two is mouth-watering. Let's be honest, it is. And I don't think that's... I would say it's a little bit on the higher side, but me personally, I wouldn't be mad. Like they say, it's not our money. And the quality that you're getting, to get them two in, I just think is so much of an improvement that if it's between 50 and 60, just get it done. But I would like to still see us push. I would still like to see us be creative. Let's get why can't we get a 45 million plus 10 million add-ons or something like that? You know, total package 55. Or why can't we get a 50 with a 10 million in add-ons or 15 million in add-ons? And again, those add-ons only kick in if we're doing certain things. So I want to see us get creative. I don't think we should just pay whatever Brentford want. Negotiate, keep calm. It's still very early in the window. I think we'll get him. I do think we'll get him, but don't go stupid. But to be fair, the reports are saying that they view him as Mateus Cunha and kind of want the same. Find a way to structure that. Find a way to structure that. If it's like we'll give you that in the end, but that's with add-ons. You know what I mean? In total with add-ons, then I'm more for it. So Bryan and Mbeumo, watch this space in terms of the fee. Let me know what you guys think is a fair fee. You lot say, some people, some of you lot might be like, listen, anything over 55, you're walking away. You know, I don't agree with that, but maybe you are. I don't know. Let me know. And also, I want to touch quickly on Emi Martinez from Aston Villa. Now, this was from Ben Jacobs, and he said that Man United will move for Aston Villa's Martinez if they can get him. The feeling is that he will leave Villa this summer. I think there's definitely a feeling that he'll leave. That's an interesting one, isn't it? Because Emi Martinez, listen, is a good goalkeeper, a very good goalkeeper. I know he's a bozo against us and got sent off, and we were cussing him because, you know, he's one of them players that if he's not on your team as a goalkeeper, it winds you up, it get in your head. He does Emi Martinez things. But if he's your player, you can see why Villa fans love him. I've seen his antics firsthand. When I was at the World Cup final, I was literally sat behind the goal for the penalties for Argentina against France, and he was obviously infamously just doing a madness on the line. It's not the first time he's done it. He's a big character. And most importantly, he's way better than Andre Onana. And Villa need to sell because of PSR. So it'd be very, I would definitely take him. How much would it cost? I'm not too sure. He signed a new deal, didn't he? Was it in January or was it the beginning of this season? I know he signed a new deal very recently. So it'd be interesting to see how long he's got left on his contract. Would he want to stay in the Premier League and come to Man United in a new era? I think if the money's right, yes, but obviously Saudi money's different. But for me, bring him if he's on it. I will put that to bed about all the times I cussed him in the past because he's not my player. As soon as he becomes our player, I'll back him. And he's good. He is good. Sometimes I think he's overrated, but he's still way better than who we have. And I would definitely be behind having Emi Martinez as our keeper. So let me know what you guys think about that as well. Smash the like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, guys. Take care. I'm out of here. Peace.